Hey everybody, this is Dark Guardsman. We're back with another video. Now I figured out exactly what happened to the Redmatter to cause it to mess up. Had nothing to do with OBS, which I pretty much knew was probably the case. Nothing to do with race conditions, nothing to do with frame rate problems, nothing to do with that. Had to do with a single line of code that I changed, and it was not an obvious change in the code. It was something that I actually had to sit there and stare at, had to toy with, had to change and reverse pieces of code that I had changed back and forth until I found what did it. Basically, order of elimination, or process of elimination is what I basically went through. Now, the piece of code that I changed will surprise you, and I have to actually show this and explain to it how it actually works. So let's switch back to main view here and go back to the code. Now, nothing with the blast render code was changed that caused this problem. What actually had changed is I had taken a single piece of function here that I didn't even think about. This exact single line, I had moved it to a static function to kind of help improve render speed. I was like, yeah, why are we making a new one of these every single turn was basically what my brain went through, and I was like, yeah, let's move it to a static function. I didn't think about it, and I had completely forgotten how random functions actually work, and I had to actually go ask a few people to explain it to me, because frankly, nobody really thinks about it. When you set the seed in a random function, that's the seed you start with. As you keep calling the random calls, so every single time you call a new float, new float, new float, and so on, it changes what the next float will going to be. And because the seed is actually set to its current value, this first float will always be the same no matter how many times you run this function. So if you ran this the first time or the millionth time, this first function will always return the same exact float value. This one will return the same, and so on and so on. And this basically allows this to actually end up creating what looks like a very consistent rotation, when the fact is it should make sense when it comes to the random. There's no code that actually tracks where the animation angles are. There's nothing that actually says, okay, I'm going to be at point A, B, and C. There's nothing in the code that says that. How it actually works is that when we call the next random call, that next random is going to be the same every single time, and it creates what appears to be a very slow path for each of these beams, when the fact is they might as well be entirely random. And it works, and whoever actually designed this was pretty smart and actually figured that out. And I'm probably going to sit here and clean this up and actually work at it. One of the suggestions is actually to catch this. I was actually told by another developer I can catch all the results, because if this is going to be the same every single time, and we only run, I think we max out at about 100 beam runs is what we run, so I can sit here and catch a small block of this data, and we no longer need the random, we no longer call the next float, and that may have some improvement. I'm going to actually go through and test it, but I just wanted to show off real quick what was causing that problem and show that it is actually fixed now. So for those who are panicking, like, oh no, the red matter is going to be broken, I won't be able to stare at it, somebody's going to strobe machine and cause me to stroke out or have a seizure or something, it's fixed. I'm going to actually be working on code to prevent that from ever happening again, because that is actually a worrying thing, and I actually puked my guts out mid-testing here. Yeah, I was literally just staring at this, and it was strobing, and my brain just went, nope, and then I turned over and puked. Yeah, so interesting side effects of testing code, and I'm probably going to find another game developer who's actually went through that same exact experience before with testing their stuff. But it's fixed. I'm going to actually add settings to turn off the beams and a few other things with the render. So for those who actually are worried about it, you could just flat turn it off. I'm going to be looking at settings for other things, because this is a great lesson to learn that code can very easily break and cause problems. And it's a good lesson in ethics too, because I basically need to make sure that this cannot cause a problem and actually cause people to seizure out. For those who are going to ask if I'm going to keep the color beams, yes, they're going to be staying in there. They're not going to be on the default one. We're going to have a special red matter that can fire them. I may add a setting to turn those on, but there's going to be setting to turn off the beams. There's going to be setting to probably turn off everything but the very center orb, because you're going to still need to be able to see where this thing's actually at. And that's been about it, so I'll see you guys in another video.